Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Anheuser-Busch Productions here on the Anheuser-Busch YouTube channel. Today we are playing at the Fontana Spring Championship out in beautiful Fontana Dam, North Carolina, a little bit past Franklin. And as always, I'm joined with my broadcasting partner, Paul Rankin, aka Paul. Kevin, go ahead and say hey to everybody, Paul.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching.
And here is our lead card going into round two. Brandon Brown coming out with a hot 10 under. Noah and David at 8 under, and Garrett and Collin right there behind them at 7 under. Paul, go ahead and talk a little bit about hole 1 coming up and just this course in general.
Sure, so hole 1 you can see on this drone footage is a pretty short hole, one that everybody's definitely counting as a 2 in their head. There's not much to it, it's just a little backhand hyzer is what most people are probably going to play at it. You've got the hill behind it as kind of a backstop, but you can't get a great
I know, that's actually pretty crazy that he's going for it. And hey, he's about 20 feet away, but it works. Now we have...
Yeah, it's a good look.
Now we have Noah coming up. Big hyzer, that's the play that a lot of people like to go for. There is that one tree, it has a couple low-hanging limbs. You go big hyzer out and around it, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's just trying to pitch up a short backhand.
Yep.
It's the play on this hole, there's not much to think about.
And here's Garrett. He had a pretty solid first round. He slowed down a lot towards the end. Held him at only 8 under. He was looking to be probably at least 10 to 12 under as well right there with Brandon Brown. Now we have Collin.
Pick up this round.
Yeah, I had a chance to play with Collin that first round. He's a lot of fun to play with. He's a kind of a jokester. He's a very fast player, and we'll see if that can affect him any, because a lot of these guys in this group, they play a little bit slower, and we'll see if Collin's able to, just stick with it throughout the round. Big putt from David, though, to start off the day, or the second round, that is.
It can be tough to play at a pace that's different than what you're doing. A lot of people don't like backups in tournaments, or especially with a five-some like this. If
Yeah.
Card mates aren't as quick as you usually are, they can get in your head.
Yeah, and there are a couple holes on this course that are pretty long, and there are a few holes that have some pretty big backups on them. I know at one point, you'll see it. Well, you won't really get a chance to see it in the second round because, well, I'll cut the video a lot shorter than what it was. But there's about an hour-long backup on one of the holes at one point. It was the big par 4, number 11. So it can get rough whenever you're playing fivesomes on a course that has reachable par 4s.
Yeah, because the hole is not quick to play for a lot of these par 4s, especially the one you mentioned. It's not quick to play, but it's reachable, so you really have to wait until the card finishes it.
Exactly. And
it will cause a lot of backups.
And everyone does make good on the birdie on the first hole, as is to be expected. Now we're on to hole 2, and we have a big downhill par 4. It is reachable. This one is probably one of the harder to reach par 4s, though. You got a lot of danger. OB left if you're on the road, OB long if you're past the road, and there's a creek just to add to it that runs a little bit short right there. You can see it sneaking into the video, but if you're surrounded by water, you're OB.
Yeah, hole 2 is a great hole. It's a lot of fun to throw. You can reach it and to it, but I think a lot of players are going to take a safer approach, just trying to get most of the way down the fairway and leave themselves an easy up shot for a bird.
Yeah, that's kind of what you just saw Brandon do right there. Noah, don't exactly remember where his finished off at. Now we have David coming up, throwing looks like maybe a flip-up shot. I know first round he went OB, so he's looking to change anything on that he did first round. Up there it finishes. Safe this time.
Yeah, I think the hand is the backhand flip-up shot is definitely there. It'd be easy to have to carry all the way down that hill, but it's just thrower's preference.
And speaking of carrying down the hill, holy cow, I'm telling you, that shot is like underneath the basket. He pured it perfectly.
Yeah, that's a great shot. It's a really touchy line. It's hard to hit that line and match the hill and throw the disc so that it turns just the right amount. Garrett did that perfectly.
And here comes Collin. Oh, I believe he hit one of the trees and finishes short of the short pad.
Yeah, there's Collin doing his approach.
I think, yeah.
Make contact with some trees again.
And here comes Noah on his, I believe, second shot. Hard to film. I understand there's a lot of stuff in the way. Once again, a huge thanks has to go out to Mama Kastle right here, better known as my mom, Denese Kastle. She filmed all of the holes for this tournament and did a pretty good job with it. It's a tough course to film for sure.
Yeah, it's not easy. There's a lot of brush and things in the way. Awkward positions to film strange holes, but glad that we got footage of this course. It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun to play.
It deserves it. Here comes David. I cannot remember if his disc ended up OB or not, but he's putting from about the exact same spot he was in round one. Let's see if he makes good on this one. Sure does. Yeah, we saw him miss a couple short ones there in the first round, but nothing too serious. He fought back and he finished at 8 under. Here's Noah, big 3. Good job. He's going to have to settle for a par on this hole. And just think, we still haven't seen Garrett take his 2-putt. That's how close he is. Here's Collin. 3 from him. A shot, or sorry, 4 from him, I believe. We might have missed his approach shot at some point. And Garrett coming up for the tap-in eagle on this hole. That's the closest I've ever seen anyone be on this hole in one. So, impressive from him. Yeah. So Brandon at 11, Noah and David at 9. Garrett moves to 10 under after that eagle. Now we're on to hole 3. I flied the flick route, but a lot of people like going the backhand route underneath the trees over there. The flick route, it's a little bit harder to get to the basket. OB is road and over on this hole.
Yeah, and this hole is looks a little bit more like what you're going to see for the next few holes. Front 9. There's a good bit more open. You've got different route options that you can take. You'll see people are gonna, as you mentioned, they can take the backhand line over the road. That's the more direct line. You're more likely to get onto the basket. But you'll see Brandon here taking the flick line, which, as you mentioned, it's a little tougher to park the basket. It takes a little bit more distance. It's hard to keep it straight, but you're not bringing the road into play quite as much, and it's a pretty safe 3.
Yeah,
That's what a lot of these players are going for.
That's one reason I am much more of a flick player than I am a backhand player, but I would much prefer to go with the flick on this hole just because it's still two-able and it's much safer. You kind of just take away all the danger going with the flick. You see Collin, he puts a decent little shot out there. Now we're on to David. Comes in, big backhand from him. Going a little bit to the right, needs to catch some of the hill. It does, it stays in bounds. Collin approaching from behind the stump right there. Pitches up. I think he gets himself to about 15 feet for par. David?
Yeah, looks like he's lining up a bit of a run.
Yeah, step putt, looks like.
Yeah, and this green is right underneath a lot of big old growth trees, and the ground is pretty soft. So, although there's still some slope here, players aren't really as worried about rollaways as they are on a lot of other holes where the green is hard packed dirt or grass.
Let's see what Brandon can do. He has a step putt of his own. Hey, big 2 from Kid right there.
Yeah, that's a great way to play the hole. Play a safe first shot, but leave yourself a run. If you feel confident in your step putt, which it looks like Brandon should, then that's a great play from him.
Garrett's going to pitch up. He has a tap-in 3 himself. And here's Noah for his 2. From about 40 feet out. Oh, just right. Collin makes good on his par. David from similar distance. No gimme, but we'll see if David can convert. He has missed a couple from about this range already today. Lining up the putt. It's up and good. Just over the rim, hardly any chance of skipping out right there.
That's a good putt, especially early on in the round. It feels good to get some of those putts in where you're still using a full stroke and everything feels right, but you're confident that you're going to make it. Close. Get your confidence up and feel better about the 25, 30-foot putts later on.
So now on to hole 4. Scores after 3. We have Brandon Brown at 12 under, Noah and David at 9, Garrett at 10, and Collin at 8. Now on to hole 4. A very tough hole to get some drone footage on. There's power lines, trees in the way, a lot of stuff in the way right off the tee. And as I mentioned, we are also playing the long tees this second round. It's actually over to the left-hand side. There's a power pole over there on the left. It's closer to that. You can actually see the flag there in the very middle of your screen, right behind that one white tree down there.
Yeah, this position is not a whole lot different lengthwise, but it is much more difficult. There's more obstacles to contend with. You've got a better chance of going down that parking lot.
Yep, OB.
Not what you want to do. And looks like these players are playing it relatively safe. I think the sidearm is the safer play, just to fade away from that.
Now they did have like a weird OB line over there, so some of the parking lot was inbounds, but a lot of it still wasn't inbounds. So I think one of these players ends up in like the parking lot, but it's still inbounds, like where he was. Yeah, it was interesting. I sort of liked how they had it, but I would have also been okay with them just saying, "Hey, all concrete's OB."
Well, it looks like everybody's getting out, which is the important part of this whole move. The really worst mistake you make is hitting that power line or one of the early trees. Everybody's down there putting, it looks like.
Yep, so here's David. Big 2 from him. Up, and no good, just a little short. He had to contend with that tree below him. He'll tap out his par really quick.
Yeah, it looked like he had some issues with the low ceiling, but gave it a good run anyway.
You can see Garrett really sailed his drive back there. He's inbounds, though.
Wow, I'm surprised that he was able to make it that far.
I know, there's a lot to go through. If you get past that one shed right there on your left-hand side of the screen, it does open up, and I think he just went perfectly over the top and went sailing.
Oof. Brandon's happy that one stayed in.
Yeah,
Pretty low.
Yeah, questioning himself a little bit, but hey, a birdie's a birdie. Looks the same on the scorecard, at least. Collin, he got pretty fortunate with his drive. He actually hit that power pole right beside the basket, and it sat right there.
That's fortunate.
Garrett taps out the par. Brings us on to hole 5. Now, see, my mom was filming from up top right there. 13 under for Brandon, 10 under for Noah and Garrett, and 9 under for David and Collin. And now, hole 5, pretty straightforward hole. It plays a lot longer than it says, though. It's a hard-to-reach par 3. The only real obstacle is that building right there on the right-hand side of the screen. Outside of that, it's just throw a big shot, get it up in the air, and try to get it to the basket and make a good putt.
Yeah, this is the first chance for these players to open up, throw a distant shot. It is reachable if you've got the arm for it, but it's also perfectly safe if you want to just throw a big hyzer out there and have a safe 3.
Yeah, you can see Collin was very quick on the draw right there. We kind of missed his drive, but he finishes up in the fairway at least. Now we have Garrett stepping up to the box. Shot is up. Fading up over the roof. Looks pretty good right there. He's probably got himself, 40, 45 feet.
Have a good run at it.
And David comes up. He actually was one of the couple birdies on the first round on this hole. He puts another pretty good one up here. Goodness gracious. Almost all the way towards the basket. We actually missed Brandon's drive as well, but he threw a decent one up there. So Collin, little pitch up from him, comes up shorter than he was wanting it to, I'm sure.
Yeah, with this, it can be difficult to gauge that. Of course, I'm sure he wants that one back, but the way he's been putting lately, I think that he shouldn't have any trouble cleaning that up.
Here's Garrett, big 2 for him. Oh, just right of the basket.
Yeah, good height, good speed, just wasn't quite on line.
Saw Brandon make a step putt earlier. This one just a little too high. He might have not needed to step putt on that one.
Yeah, he looked to be barely outside the circle.
Yep.
I'm surprised he would go for that. It is uphill, I guess, so that may play into his decision making. But see if you can clean this up.
Oh no, went from a 2 to a 4 in a heartbeat right there. It's not what you want to do. He's trying to hold on to that lead right here, giving one back to the card. Garrett makes good on his par. We're still waiting for David to take his shot. Threw his pretty close.
He's even inside of Collin's upshot.
Oh no, Collin. Just kind of looked like he lackadaisically walked up towards that one and just pulled it all the way.
Yeah, that's easy to do sometimes. You know, you take
Yeah.
a putt for granted and just go up and toss it towards the basket.
You can see.
Especially a lead card over
Yeah.
here. You want to consider every putt.
You can see how close David really just was off of his drive right there. Easy tap in 2. Noah cleans up a 3, and Collin's going to have to settle for a 4.
Yeah, great 2 from David. A couple of 4s there from Brandon and Collin is not really what you want to see, but they'll move on, try to forget about that.
And now
In the rest of the holes.
Now we're going to go onwards towards hole 6 and scores after hole 5. Brandon drops one to 12 under. Noah, David, and Garrett in a headlock right there at 10 under, and Collin at 8, right behind them. Hey, there I am making an appearance. Hole 6, pretty straightforward par 3. You got a little tree to contend with right off the bat, at least the overhanging limbs. You want to go wide and around them or under them with like something like a mid-range to skip up towards it maybe, and that basket's sitting right on top of those rocks, and if you're left of the or on the road or left, you're OB.
Yeah, it's a difficult green to approach. You don't want to be right. I mean, where David went, his shot from the tee probably was not that far off, but just the way that slope is so drastic that missing right is really going to cut you off from your line on the putt.
Yeah, right.
The play
Go ahead.
is to finish a little left. You want to be basket height if possible, but you can't push it too long and left, or else you risk skimming into that road and going OB.
Yep, and you just saw right there, Brandon actually nailed that guardian tree on the right-hand side, and that leaves him that was Garrett. That leaves him a long approach into the basket. Here's, oh yeah.
There's right under the basket.
You see everyone opting for the backhand hyzer route right there, and that pretty much is the route of choice.
Yeah, you can throw a flick as well, but I think the backhand plays into that hill a little nicer.
Oh, Garrett gave a pretty good run from down where he was. Now Noah, this is a pretty dangerous putt because if he blows past the basket, he's left himself a hard comebacker. But luckily he hits the pole and it sits right there.
Good drop metal.
David, from about 20 feet below the basket. This is a very elevated putt. It's one of those. It's hard to hit the chains on almost. You just don't have a lot of room to hit it. But he does it.
Yeah, no problems with that. That's great putt. Center, low. I'm sure he feels good to get that after his drive was not where he wanted.
Now we got Brandon. He just missed a pretty short one on the last hole. Let's see if he can catch back up right here. Oh no, another one.
Strong side chain out. That's unfortunate.
Luckily it sat up there though. No bad roll away. There's, yep, cleaning up. Yeah, on our card we had a guy that he was putting for 3 up top about where Noah is, and he rolled all the way back down the hill, had to settle for a 5 on the hole. So
Yeah, it is easy to do out here. There's a lot of basket near slopes, a lot of rocks in play. If you miss and your disc hops up on in, there's no telling where it's going to stop sometimes.
that is for sure. I mean, on the next hole we saw someone in the first round have a bad roll away and roll across the road, but hey, he banged it for par. Shout out to Chuck Harris right there. There's Noah finishing off his par putt right there. That's going to do it for us on hole 6. Now, on to hole 7, with the scores looking at 12 under for Brandon, 11 under for David, 10 under for Garrett and Noah, and 9 under for Collin. And now, hole 7 is a side hill sloping fairway the entire way, and this basket was actually pushed back into the woods about 60 feet in there. And it's hard to get to the basket. There's a lot of guardian trees protecting it from getting all the way to the basket. Let's see if these guys can make good on it. David throwing his shot. Hyzer coming in, and yep, you'll see it rolling down the hill.
Yeah, this is a really tough placement in the short or the long. You've always got to worry about that roll away. I think that the long placement, the players may be a little less apprehensive about landing on that slope. You feel like maybe if you push into those woods and land in those leaves, you're less likely to roll than on the grass, but
Yeah,
it's still hard to birdie either way.
yeah, the leaves tend to kind of skip a little bit more and settle a little bit more instead of like where if you cut into grass, it just digs and rolls. Oh, unfortunate right there. Noah skipped OB.
Noah got some sort of kick or something. An interesting action pushed him out OB, but hopefully he can recover from that.
See what Garrett's able to do. His tee shot coming up there. Flying in, cutting through, and gets it to settle. I think he's got himself about a 30-footer for birdie.
Yeah, and 30-footer for birdie, that's a good shot on this hole.
Uh-huh.
As long as you get up there near the green, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I felt like I pured my shot on this whole second round, and I nailed some guardian limbs on that same tree Brandon just hit. It's coming in on the same angle, like that. And Noah, oh no.
Looked like he had a pretty open approach,
Yep.
but...
And then we actually had a camera. The battery died on us, so we missed the rest of the shots. There was the scores after the hole was done, though. Apologies about that, folks. Camera battery was dying. Doing what we could. Now, yep.
On the hole 8.
Yeah, and you can see it actually, it's a pretty tight one off the tee box, and it's a different pin position. The pin is probably 60 or 70 feet more out to the left. It actually almost plays more of like a backhand Annie off the tee that you want to flex. And it's such a hard hole to film off the tee that we end up just picking back up on the approach shots. So there is Brandon's shot for 2.
Yeah, it looks like David just pitched out, landed pretty close to where the short pin is.
Yep.
Pitch up for par.
And it's actually kind of impressive how far Garrett got to the left of this hole. That's hard to be in that spot after 1.
Yeah, he must have had a pretty good flex on this shot. It is easy to throw something a little long on this hole, the way the hill slopes, but usually people will do that out to the right, not to the left.
So we've seen 4 misses so far. Can Collin make good? Nope. Looks like everyone's going to have par putts now. Brandon, we've seen him miss a couple already. See if he can try to get some confidence back right here. Step up and make a big putt on hole 8. Looks like he does have a headwind, though.
Yeah, you know he's thinking about this one.
There you go, kid.
Great putt.
Yep, that was a confident stroke right there. Dead in the heart. No chance of a spit out. David is going to walk up and try to mop up his par as well. Putt is up and good. And the rest of these guys should be able to mop up a par too. Well, Noah does have a bit of a putt to it still. Is putt up? Hey, whoo, a little high, but it holds.
A little high, a little left, but basket caught anyway.
Yep. That's whenever you go give it a little hug and say, hey, thanks for being my friend today. And now...
Looks like everybody got out of there with a par, which is... It is a difficult birdie.
It is. I think that's a good one to get par. You're not really losing any strokes to the field right there. 12 under for Brandon, and David right behind him at 11. Now, onwards to hole 9. Last hole of this front side. Pretty straightforward hole. Kind of tee off from elevation. You're almost looking at the same height of the basket, but you go down and back up. Road and right is OB on this one. That's about your only danger for the hole. Right off the tee box, there are a couple bushes too you just need to watch out for, but they don't play too close to your throw.
Yeah, this hole is a pretty simple backhand hyzer into the hill.
Yep.
It's got a little bit of length, but I think that most of the people on this card are counting this one as a birdie. Just hoping to have a short putt at it.
That's for sure. Garrett and David both made some pretty good drives up there. Let's see what Brandon's able to do.
Looks like Brandon might be lining up for his sidearm.
Mm-hmm.
From this long pad, I think is not generally the preferred route, but it is safe with
Yeah.
wide open left side.
I know whenever I play this hole, I line up a sidearm. I throw a banshee and just try to throw it flat out to the left and just let it finish to the right. And it tends to play well. I don't know why. Whenever I throw it back in, I feel like I bring the tree into play that you just saw Noah hit right there. So I try to take that tree completely out of play. I'd rather just fly right through it. And that was a great shot from Collin.
Right. Yeah, as you mentioned, this hole, as well as many others on this course, have more than one option. So
Hmm.
depending on the player's preference, they'll take different lines. But it's interesting to watch what different people do.
Oh no. Brandon gives it a run, hits band, and rolls to about the same distance he just was.
Yeah, that's a good stop there. Interesting to see him use that step putt again for what seems to be a pretty short putt.
Yeah, it's almost as if like if he's right outside of that 10-meter range, he wants to use that step putt. This
Putting
one,
uphill.
yeah, oh, low all the way. Never really gave it a shot.
No, it looked like he may have been putting up into a wind and was hoping for a little lift, but
Yeah,
didn't really get the nose up to carry it.
yeah, you can see the flag kind of whipping right back at the guys right there. So headwind putt for David as well. He's trying to decide if he wants to straddle or take this one normal. Looks like he's settling on a straddle right here.
Yeah, a lot of times with steep slopes like this on a green, even though there's nothing in your way, it's still hard to get a comfortable footing.
And right side chains and just didn't catch enough of them. Needed one or two more chains to hold it. See if Noah can make good. He does. Hey, there's a nice birdie.
Yeah, that was a good solid putt straight into the headwind.
And we're going to have Collin stepping up. And through his drive pretty close, makes for a little bit easier putting. David, he's going to tap out his par right here. Garrett should have himself a par as well. See if he cleans up. Stepping up. Putt is up. Putt is good. And Brandon, he's going to have to settle for a bogey. And someone has now caught up with the leaders. That's going to put David and Brandon tied. Actually, might be Noah as well. Noah might be right there at 11 under too. We'll see here in just a second. 11 under for Brandon and David. Garrett at 10, Noah at 8, and Collin at 9. I forgot Noah had that bad 5 on hole 7 right there. So that does do it for the front 9 scores here. Paul, Kevin, you got anything you want to talk about from this front 9 side so far?
Yeah, it looks good. It looks like David's playing well, catching up to Brandon. Brandon's lost a couple of strokes, but looks like his putting stroke was coming back toward the end. We'll see if he can maintain his lead, try to go out with the win, or if David will catch up, or Garrett, possibly someone else. I'm looking forward to seeing the back 9 from
Yeah,
these guys.
should be a whole lot of fun for sure. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Catch you soon.